Hey guys, I have it open on my phone so I can actually see. Okay, it's working. Had to make sure it was working. Hey Lisa, thank you for coming. I spent like 2 hours straightening my hair like a dumbass. Hey Justine. Back, sorry. Ooh, you went to look at a house on your phone, huh? Are you guys getting a new house? Hey Jay Tello. Cat eyes. Hey, beautiful. Let's see, too. I told Blaze he can come. Hey, Chantal. He can come up. He's trying to get the baby situated because Variety can't make it. But I already knew because his service was wonky. I had to get all these things off my clipboard. How's everybody's last 2 weeks been? Hey, Dawn. We're looking at some of this card. Oh, hell yeah, Justine. That's awesome. That's a big deal. I'd be pumped too. Oh, I don't know if like they have these programs. Hey, Jake Randall. If they have these programs where you are, but in Massachusetts, depending on the area, I think that you're from, they have it's like called Mass Dreams. Hi, beautiful Penny. It's a program called Dreams. What is it? Mass Dreams 50K. And it's a first-time home buyers program. So if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years in Massachusetts, you apply, and as long as you qualify, they will help you. Thank you, Cat Eyes. They will help you get your first home. And like if you qualify for 50,000, then what they do is they use, I believe it was like 20% or something, goes towards closing costs. So like you would get 35,000 towards your new home and then 15,000 towards all the closing costs. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really cool. I don't know what the qualifications are. I was going to look into it myself, but a lot of those programs just started because of COVID, you know? So I was like, well, at least something cool came out. Because there's a lot of people who are trying really hard to, get into a home, and buying a home right now is a crazy expensive, even people who already have a home, I own now, but we are buying in Detroit City. Okay. Yeah, type in like Google it. Like type in something like, Detroit City first time home buying programs for COVID or something, It really is, Jay. It's out of control. I mean, I looked up some of them and was actually in shock that they look that way. Hey, Bryden. But yeah, there are programs in Wayne County too. So see, they got to be everywhere, I think because the guy was telling me, so they sent me a letter. What it is the states won't announce it. Do you know what I mean? They don't want you to know that you have access to all this stuff, but COVID let out a lot of programs. And I was like looking up some of them, and I'm like glad that they have, but I wish they would announce it because there's so many like domestic violence victims that would, hey, Janice, that would benefit from it. They're afraid to like fully leave their abusers, thinking they're gonna be stuck on their own. Um, Jay, you hit Justine. Hold on. Let's see. How do I unhide? Oh, Jay, how do I unhide? Let's see. Oh, maybe I click on her name. Okay, unhide. I found it. Sorry, Justine. It was an accident. I figured you didn't. This is what I get for giving you a wrench, Jay. She's unhidden, so it's fine. I was looking and I was like, what's she saying? Yep, I have to look into that. Goal is to sell my house. Yeah, 150,000 would be awesome because depending on what they give you, you know, in the beginning, um, like a put down amount. I think that would be a huge help to go towards your buying the new home. Hey, Stuffy. Guys, look at how freaking long and thick my hair is. And this is why it took me 2 hours to straighten my hair. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I don't even know why I straightened it today because we have snow and rain outside right now. That was not worth it. So it'll probably get curly when I go back outside, at 3 to get the kids. So, because that's how it works. How have you been, Steffi? I was gonna say, yeah, her messages from before are deleted. Well, Janice and Bryden, she said hi to you. um, yeah, it gets to be a pain in the butt with that when something gets deleted, and then you're like, like, what did they say? I hope they didn't say anything to me. Hey, Tatiana. That's okay, honey. Thank you. All right, let's see. Maybe if I can keep the laptop on my lap, I won't be so far away, but ooh, I'm shaking it. Guys, I'm not good with the laptop, and I'm sitting on my hair. I'm like terrible with it. So you guys, I have to vent about this because it's really pissing me off. All right, so I've been decoying again, right? And I am decoying this female. She tried to say she's in Europe. Her profile said New York, but like looking up some of the stuff that she has said, I know pretty much where she is, but I just don't know like her detailed information, because otherwise I would report her instead of worrying about the catch, to be honest. But she has already sent me. She knows I'm 13. Um, she said I was okay. She called me baby. And she sent me nudes of her in the bathtub. Um, and then she said, "Are you an only child?" And I told her no, because my kids are here. And if I have to do a call and they hear my kids, I always say I have brothers, right? So she asked me, do I kiss them on the lips? I said, LOL, no, ew. Like, I barely get to hug them, or I barely hug them. So then I said, are you an only child? And she told me, no, she has a sister. And I said, oh, cool. I said, is she fun to hang out with? Like asked how old she was, little questions. She's 11. And anyway, she told me, I mean, this girl's 22. I think it was 22. So she's young. But she told me that every time her sister sleeps over, her fingers are in every hole. And I'm like, it's bothering me. A lot. A lot. Because it's like this poor little girl is getting abused, and I don't know enough about it to get her help. So it's stressing me out a little bit. But it's like, I'm keeping the face on and stuff just because it's like I need to know who she is, so I can turn her in. Ugh. But it's been eating me up since yesterday. um, just trying to deal with it, but I'm sorry. It's just like, it's so overwhelming to know that some little girl is being abused, and she tries to tell me that she likes it and stuff, and it's like like there's no way,
That's insane.
Yeah. But I'm like, so I've asked her, do you visit New York and stuff, and she's like, yeah, I visit there a lot. um and I said, are you even in New York now? Are you in Europe? And she keeps trying to tell me she's in Europe, but it's like, I know she's throwing me off, but it's like, I'll talk a little bit and make, little comments about my life so that it kind of leads her into telling me about her life. So the more details I get, the more I can look into her, Um, I'm just like, I actually started ignoring the other guy, that was 67-year-old guy who's disgusting. Um, and he's in New York. It's like, once I knew this little girl was being abused, it's like, I just mostly, he's like, I want a full body pic. And I told him I don't send any naked pictures because my cousin sent one to her boyfriend before. And I'm like, it ended up all over the school. So I said, and then her parents found out, like, I'm not sending anything naked on a phone. And I said, when, we meet up, you can take pictures, like a photo shoot, And so he's like, I want a full body pic just to see what I have to work with, kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, cool, like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Just like, but I haven't even done the picture. I told him I was going to do it when my mom came home last night, but after talking to that girl last night, it was like, I full on ignored him. I hadn't messaged him back again yet. I just 100% focused on her. Just bothers me.
I kind of don't blame you, Jules.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I feel like it's rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, as often as I have decoyed, and hearing them talking disgusting to me, like, to be honest, it don't bother me. It's like, I'd rather it be me than a kid. You know what I mean? I can separate my emotions from that. But to know that there is a little girl being actively abused, it's killing me. Hey, Tatiana. I hope I added her. Oh. I don't know if I bumped you by accident, Tatiana, or if it was your network or something. But yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I had to get that off my chest. That shit has been eating me up since yesterday. Okay, good. She's back. Hey, babe. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You guys hear me?
Oh, okay. I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, somebody's got a TV going and we're hearing it like really loud.
Well, you are. All right. I was looking for my remote too to mute it, and I couldn't. Hold on 1 second, because I think I know where I put it. I think it was mine. I usually mute it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Honey, we are all here for you and we will all cry for you. And please let us know what's going on as soon as you figure out who she is so we can celebrate when she's frigging arrested.
Yeah, like I was saying I think I was telling FM about her too, but I'm like, the second I know who she is, like, I don't even care about the catch. I don't care about none of that. Like, I'm turning her in and I want them to go get her, like save
Absolutely.
that poor girl, you know?
This is definitely another one of those cases where an actual child is being hurt and there is no need for a catch. It needs to go right
No,
to law enforcement.
right,
And you're doing
exactly.
exactly right.
I mean, it's like, how does it not eat you up inside to know that these things are happening to this child?
I know. You're gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry. It's just really killing me. It's like, it's hard to like continue to talk to her and not say, you dirty, grimy bitch. Like, what is wrong with you? You know?
Absolutely. I
And
don't know
look,
how you boys could do this. It's oh my god.
it's like, and she's 22, like, she's young. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I realize there's, chomos in every age, but I'm like, like when Matt asked me earlier, like, am I sure it's a female, and not a guy pretending to be a female? I'm like, oh no, like, you could tell first of all the way she's talking and stuff, but she's been
The picture.
sending me nudes repeatedly, and it's the same one. And the first two, she was in the tub, and she had already mentioned sitting in the bathtub and whatever. It's like the things that she says is more of a feminine type of
Mhm.
way of speaking, you know what I mean, as opposed to what these guys say, where they're like, just want to get in there. I feel like
Mhm.
females are more like apt to try to groom, you know, um, and they're just secretive about it. You know, she's definitely trying to
Oh yeah.
groom me. You know,
And she absolutely knows what she's doing wrong. She's an adult and she needs
oh
to be
yeah,
held accountable.
yep. I mean, I
And you
kind of
can
had a feeling she was gonna go in that direction when she asked me, like, do I ever kiss my brothers on the lips? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I barely hug them, and then I just
You
said,
know what,
LOL.
Jules, if she's doing this to her little sister and she's telling you she's doing this, I will bet you she will probably confess to doing it while she was babysitting other people's kids. You
Oh
might try
yeah,
to get that out of her too.
yep. Yep. And that's what I was thinking about last night. It's like, how many are there? You know? Thanks, bad guy. I was talking about because I'm back decoying full time again, and not just here and there. So, and I am actively talking to 6 people, but one of them, this female from New York, she's actively molesting her 11-year-old sister, and she is flat out honest about it. She's proud of it. Like, I don't know if she thought it was going to turn me on. Like, I don't know. But the way she said, oh, yeah, every time she sleeps over here, my fingers are in every hole. Like, what the fuck?
What?
Like, what is wrong? What is wrong with you? Like, why do you have that mentality? Why is that okay? And I told her my brothers are 7 and 8. Like, all I could do was hug my boys last night. Because I'm like, why? I was so angry. So angry.
Well,
It's just sick. It is sick. It's like I said, there's some cases where it's like, you just want to hurry and get somebody there to catch them. But like when this type of shit is going on, it's like, just want to get whatever information you can so you can turn them in. Don't
Mhm.
let that kid continue to suffer.
uh,
There is no reason for a kid at 11 to sit and have to suffer, and I mean, God forbid, but the mom probably has no idea. She's probably groomed her sister to think that this is normal, you know?
Mhm.
Oh, it's just insane and it's sick. It's sick.
Well, there's a
So,
pretty good chance that it happened to her, and this is probably something she learned from
right.
another person in her family, and it's just
Yep.
the cycle just going to keep continuing.
Mhm. Yep. And that's what another thing I always wondered is like, why is there some of us who this has happened to? We're like, so grossed out by it that we don't want it to happen to someone else. You know what I mean? But some kids turn into these adults where they're wanting to do it to another child. Like maybe they have that mentality because it happens so often that they think this is okay. I don't
Mhm.
know. But it's also like, I kind of wonder if they think, oh, well, I got hurt, I want to hurt somebody the same way I
Mm,
was hurt. Misery loves company kind of thing.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's true, Justine. Sorry. I don't know. I was looking at Janice's name and Justine's name at the same time. I thought I said Justine's name wrong, but I didn't. But yeah, I was in such shock. I'm like, I had to get it out. I couldn't. I'm like, it's so, like, I feel like it's probably more common than we think, but most of them won't just flat out admit it, you know?
Mhm.
So it's insane. But I
You're
can't
so
wait
much
to get my.
stronger.
What'd you say, honey?
You're so much stronger than I am. I could never decoy. I really couldn't.
Thank you. It's not easy, but it's like I said, the rest of it don't really bother me when the guys talk that way, because yeah, they think I'm a kid, but I'm not, which means
Mhm.
they're not doing it to another kid, or at least I'm not aware. Because they could potentially be talking to an actual kid, when they're messaging you. But, so that runs through my mind a little bit. But was that you, Blaze?
What
Oh,
what happened?
it was like a whirring or a buzzing noise, so I didn't know what it was.
Is it gone now?
Plugging,
Yeah, it's gone.
it's
It was my
plugging in
air
and
cleaner.
Oh, what'd you say, Tatiana?
oh, it sounded like the plugging in and unplugging the headphones.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, that would make sense.
They couldn't
Oh, I
do it.
did activate Bluetooth headphones, so
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be it.
I
Yeah,
have I have a whole story about my 911 dispatching days
yeah.
that kind of goes in line with this, and it still bothers me to this day, and it's been like 20 years.
Really?
Yes, I was training. It was like my fourth day of training, and the 911 phone rang, and I was sitting closest to it with the dispatcher that was training me,
Yep.
and she goes, "Go ahead and answer it." I'm like, "Okay, okay." She says, "You taken your tests, you know the questions to ask,
Right.
and you've answered the regular phone enough that I think you can handle a 911 call. Let's try it." I'm like, "Okay."
Yep.
So I answered it, and I hear this woman screaming in the background of this phone, and her kids are begging her to stop beating them.
wow.
And at the time, we didn't have locating on our 911 systems out here in bum frickin' Egypt,
Yep.
but we had the phone number.
Right.
So I listened to this woman beat her kids,
Oh man.
begging her to stop for 45 minutes,
Oh my god.
for my other dispatcher to call AT&T and try to locate the cell phone that it was calling from, which wasn't a local cell phone number. It was from like 500 miles away from us, cell
Yeah.
phone area, which we don't know how it got to us. So obviously they were sitting here on power,
Yep.
but AT&T said they couldn't locate it, and all I could do was hang up.
Oh my God.
I
That's
listened to that woman beat her kids and then beg for 45 minutes for her to stop. And all I could do was hang up. It
yeah.
kills me to this day.
Yep. Yeah, that would kill me because I always said that I couldn't be a 911 operator because it's like you're just sitting by the phone. You know what I'm saying? And even if the police come, it's like you can't be there to hug those children to make things okay. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, because some people are like, oh, it doesn't bother me because I know the police are there. But like, I'm a mom, that is like my first and, most proud title I have is a mom. And I
Uh-huh.
would genuinely want to hug every child that I hear something sad and negative about. You know,
Oh,
45
absolutely.
minutes, I couldn't do it. I couldn't, not 45 minutes. Absolutely not. I would
And
have,
I almost quit that day.
yep. And that was your first call, you said?
That was my first 911 call.
Mm, yeah, that's,
That was your first 911 call? That's brutal.
yeah,
Yeah.
that I could see why it stuck with you forever. I wouldn't have been able to.
Wow.
I mean, and it's insane because, like I said, it's what the hell are they thinking? Like, if you're that angry, bro, like, in all honesty, I'm not like, oh, yeah, go, get away from your kids and leave them alone in the house, but go step the fuck outside. I would
Yeah.
rather a parent fucking leave their kids in the house alone, unattended, than for you to be that fucking angry that you gotta fucking beat on them for 45 minutes. What kind of human are you? You
And
know?
we could tell that like one of the kids had dialed 911 and then set the cell phone down like next to them or something on the couch
Yep.
where it was kind of behind a pillow or something because I could hear everything, but I was just far enough away I couldn't make out the names. She was screaming for the little kids
Yep.
as she was beating them.
Wow. Oy. Yeah, I couldn't oh, Constantine, I didn't even give you a wrench either. I would lose it. I probably honestly would have quit. you know.
And
But
then like the
like,
next day I was taking my son to school
yep.
and I jumped in for breakfast before school started and I'm looking around and I know it was one little boy with two sisters. And I'm looking around at these kids in the
Yep.
cafeteria at the school eating breakfast, looking at the families being, the parents dropping off their kids and seeing if any of the families, kind of matched up and maybe I would maybe recognize a voice or something.
Right.
And it's 20 years and I
Right.
still
Oh,
think about those kids.
yep. I would too, 100%. I could see myself being like that, just, anytime I bring them to school and, uh, I couldn't not think about it. And yeah, Constantine, he's still in Africa and the service is shiitake mushrooms, so he said he was gonna try to make an attempt, but I told him don't worry about it because they also had a tour they were doing and stuff. So I told him just go enjoy your vacation. I was like, I'm mostly going to vent and chillax a little and check on everybody. So he's like, okay. His little video yesterday was just I loved it. Did you get to see it, Tatiana?
I didn't see one yesterday. I think I seen one the day before where they were sitting on the bed talking.
Yep. I think last night I thought it was alive, and but it wasn't. There was a video like they did certain sections, so clips of them like they did a little tour where they were in a car and stuff. And they were just being so cute and lovey on each other. Like I just love it. I love
Aw.
it. I was
I'll
so
have to go
happy.
watch it.
Yeah, you do.
How
Yeah,
exciting for Sean to be able to go over there and finally see her.
exactly. I mean, he has had a thing for her for the longest time too. It's the cutest thing.
Yeah,
But
and
we'd go
he's worked
backstage
so
with
hard.
yeah. Yep. we'd come backstage because it's like we'd talk like once or twice a week, um, but as soon as we'd get backstage, if Irene was coming, or he'd be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
like tell me whatever's going on between them and stuff." Like, and I think we're gonna end up like talking, like, and then when he finally told me there were like actually an item, I was like, Sean, like
Aw.
your face is literally lit the fuck up. Like that's so awesome. He's like in
Well, I
heaven,
hope it
really.
all works out for them, and I hope it all works out for them. She can get moved here and
I
with her
know.
boys, and
I said that would be so awesome, like, to be
what a
able to have
story!
them
What a
here.
story!
Yeah.
And
Yep.
isn't
Yep.
she in like her 30s or something?
Is she what?
Isn't she in like her 30s or something?
Yeah, I think so. Like I'm pretty sure like mid or late 30s, I think.
So they could still
Um
have a baby.
yeah, that's what he said too. In the video, you'll hear it because he kept going. Oh, I should cut this clip out, and so I typed in the comments. I said, "You better not." you know,
Oh,
what do
that
you
is
mean,
so
Jason?
adorable.
It is. It's very adorable. Um. Oh, you talking about
I
all
can't.
the 911
I
call
can't.
and stuff, Lucy?
Oh, I've got some horror stories. Oh gosh. I have some funny stories and I have some horror stories from my dispatching days. And
I
it,
could use a funny story, Tatiana. To be honest.
well, did you hear the story I told the other night about the naked guy bicycling down Main Street in the little bitty town to the south of us?
No. No,
Oh
where'd
god.
you tell that at?
I don't remember whose live I was on. Was it Bill's? No, I don't think it was Bill's. I don't remember. But I worked the midnight shift and I worked the midnight shift for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And for the place that I worked for, the city I worked for, after hours, we dispatched for our sheriff's department, fire,
Yeah.
EMS, and then the next county over to us, their fire, EMS, and their sheriff's department and their little police department in one of their little towns.
Yep.
They have a little town in the middle of their county that has, I don't know, 25, 30 people as their residents.
Right.
And it's just this tiny little town. Main Street's not even paved.
Eh,
And there's a family that lives in this county that is widely known. They're very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. Brothers die in mysterious ways, probably at the hands of the other brothers, but it can't be proven.
Right.
But they're very odd.
Oh man.
And so I'm sitting there in my chair, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the 911 phone rings, and I answer it, and it's a lady calling from this little town, and she says that one of the brothers is riding his 10 speed up and down Main Street. And we're not talking like a mountain bike, we're talking the old 10 speed with the curved handles
Oh my
from
god.
the 80s. And he is butt ass naked.
What the crap? Like,
And
wow.
he's just riding his bicycle up and down Main
Like
Street, just naked.
nonchalantly, like not caring, just like, huh.
Doesn't care. He doesn't even have socks on. He is butt ass naked and he is flopping everywhere.
Oh my god.
So the sheriff for that county and his undersheriff, they were at a restaurant close to be a 24-hour diner that's no longer there.
Yeah.
And they were having coffee with my officer, so I dispatched it. And they get down there. The sheriff grabs the bicycle and puts it in the back of his pickup. And the deputy takes the guy, puts one of those like reflector blankets on him, and then puts him in the back of his car
Yeah.
and brings him to us. At the time, our police department our jail was still functional. It's not anymore. But we held their prisoners for them also.
Right.
So they're getting booked in, and the sheriff's up at dispatch telling me the story about what they witnessed when they rolled up of everything flopping and
Yeah.
what he said to them, why he was doing this. And the undersheriff comes up after he's finished and turned the inmate over to my officer to do the final bookend and get him in a jumpsuit, and get him back in the cell. And they're talking, and they get ready to go leave, and the sheriff grabs the doorknob, and he said something, and the undersheriff goes, "Did you use any hand sanitizer or anything after you touched that bike?" And the sheriff's like, "No, why would I?" And he's like, "'Cause he was naked and that's where his bum and stuff was. Duh." Like, come on. Ew.
Oh,
The sheriff had been walking through our building, touching all the door handles and everything with the
right.
hand that he would touch that bicycle seat with.
That is so funny. Oh my god. Yeah, I'd be dousing myself in hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Oh man. And the poor cop had no idea he was on it naked. He's like,
So, and it was so funny the look on the sheriff's face because he was when he finally realized that he just touched everything in his pickup. He probably scratched his face.
could you imagine? My god, bro. Oh yeah, exactly, Justine.
Oh, gross.
Yep. It's like, oh god, yeah, poor guy. Had no idea. He's just like, I'm gonna go put the bike somewhere. Like, oops, his ass was on it. Bare ass at that.
Yeah. Oh, and then the Spider-Man. Holy cow. That was a fun one. It was kind of sad in a way because there's drugs involved, and
Yeah.
this couple was moving from wherever they were to someplace else, and the husband was trying to get the wife away from the drugs that she'd gotten into. And they stopped at that same restaurant that's attached to a gas station that's open 24 hours a day. And he went in to prepay for their fuel, and he left her out in the moving van, the big moving van that they had rented to move all their stuff to the new house in a different state. They were moving from like 3 states away to another state, let's like 2 more states away from Kansas.
Yeah.
So their trip just like in the center.
Yeah.
But while he was in the gas station paying for their fuel, I guess she decided to use meth or something.
Oh shit.
And he comes out and pumps their fuel, and he's cleaning the windshield, and he notices her hopping in the driver's seat
Oh god.
with this wild look on her. And he puts it in drive. He's standing in front of this moving van, and she puts it in drive and barrels right into him, and he's holding on to the hood and the windshield wipers.
Yep.
For dear life. She gets up on the interstate, and he's still there. She's going down the interstate at 80 miles an hour with her husband on the hood of this moving van.
Oh shit. That's
and
crazy.
she called 911.
She does?
She calls 911. I answered it, and I couldn't quite understand what was going on because she was talking really fast, but she kept saying, if I stop, he's going to beat my ass. He's going to kill me.
What?
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she says, well, we're going down the interstate. We're moving, and he's on the hood of the moving van. And I said, excuse me?
God.
He says, I can't stop. He'll kill me. And I said, ma'am, you're literally driving down the interstate with your husband on the hood of this moving van? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, I want you to slow down.
Right. It's like, at least
tell me what mile marker,
a little.
what mile marker you are at, in which direction you're heading, east or west, and I'll get a deputy to you as fast as possible. Right. So I dispatched it out to my deputy, who was not too far away, and a state trooper. And she finally slowed down to about 10 miles an hour with her hazards going. I told her, turn her hazards on and slow the hell down. I would like her to stop, but she would not stop. She was convinced if she stopped, he was going to kick the crap out of her.
I mean, at that point, I probably would too.
But she slowed down enough that he could climb up on the roof, and he's sitting up on the roof, just sitting up on the roof, waiting for her to stop, and she pulled into the rest area that she came up on, which was about 24 miles from where they left.
Oh, shit.
Where he originally got up on that hood.
That is a long time, yeah.
And my deputy and the state trooper met them there.
Yeah.
Yes, he rode that hood all the way down the interstate at 80 miles an hour for almost 20 miles.
Right. That is so crazy.
Spider-Man!
Oh, I pinned it. I wanted to star it. I think I have to do it on the laptop. But yeah, that's insane, bro. I'd be like, what the hell? There we go.
Oh yeah, I've got some crazy stories.
I could imagine. I mean, I always said too, like it would be a cool job, but it would be a lot to handle. It's sad.
If it was all just stuff like that, that wasn't like horribly serious unless he would have fell and got run over, I could have dealt with it. But after 7 years of children, it just always seemed like kids were dying on my shift, and
Right.
I just
Constantine.
couldn't take it.
Right. Constantine said so about a solid 15 minutes of hood riding.
Yeah. But that's my Spider-Man story, because that's what I always picture is this man is just, stuck to the front of this hood like freaking
I was
Spider-Man.
gonna say, could you imagine what he looked like? Like knees wrapped up on the sides, like feet, just kind of like squaring.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, it turns out that she was a drug addict, and he was trying to move her away from the drug problem that she had acquired, and they were
Yeah.
moving states away, and she had snuck some in with her, and she used it while he was in the gas station.
Oh my god. That's crazy. This poor guy's like, I was trying to take you away from this shit, and instead you put me in the middle of it, really.
Oh yeah, she could have easily killed him.
Yeah,
Easily
exactly. I was
killed
gonna
him.
say, had she stopped too, like, she was
Like
worried about him beating
abruptly.
ass, but he would have probably slid right off or smacked into the windshield,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Oh yes, I made sure she slowed down very slowly and not
Right.
abruptly.
Yep. Could you imagine, like, because you see what some of these people do when they're on meth and stuff, like some weird shit. So it's like, I always
Uh-huh.
wonder if it's kind of like tripping, if it's like altered state of reality, so maybe in her mind, if she had stopped, he would have just been fine, not thinking, oh well, he could slam into the windshield, I could kill him, or anything else that could have possibly happened. It's like,
Oh yeah, when people are on drugs, I don't know exactly how their minds function, but I've got some other wild stories. Holy cow.
I believe it. I believe, because it's like, all the people that actually either have 911 called on them, or I watched these 911 calls on YouTube. I had Whitakis put them on his channel, and there was a call one time, and this guy literally called on himself after he, like, I think he like killed his father or something. But he was so messed up on something. I don't remember what it was. But he's like, my dad was a demon, like, I'm like, what the hell are you on, bro? You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you're calling on yourself too, so you just snitched yourself out.
Oh yeah.
That was
I got another crazy story for you about the drugs and people being out of their minds on them. In our little lobby, we didn't have any video cameras, security cameras, or a mirror so we could see what was going on the floor or anything. It was just
right.
like the door and then a larger window, and it was like 3, 4 feet across at the most,
Yep.
and it was this little bitty lobby in front of where the dispatcher would sit.
Right.
In the old building, they've moved since then.
Yeah.
But the lady who was dispatching the shift before me worked till midnight, and I would come in at midnight and work from midnight to 8. And she came in from like 4 to midnight. About 10:30, the door comes open, and she's like, "What the heck?" She didn't see anybody walk up to the building. Granted, we didn't have security cameras or anything, but it was
Right.
lit. But she didn't see anybody walk up, and the door comes open, and she thought maybe the wind had just blown it open and somebody didn't get it shut tight.
Yep.
But she was in the middle of something, so she waited a few minutes before she got up to go through the security door to shut that door because it was a little windy that night.
Right.
As she's going around the side of the desk to go to the door that was right there by the desk, she hears something moving out in the lobby, and there was just enough space underneath the security door that she could see some shadow of something moving. And she's like,
Okay.
"What the hell?"
Yeah.
So instead of opening that door, she goes back around the desk and gets up on the desk so she could look down inside the lobby. Well, there's
Right.
an angle, it's like a pitch angle, so she couldn't see the floor at all. But
Yeah.
she could see in the reflection of that window, there was absolutely somebody down there on all fours.
What the hell?
So she grabbed the radio that we had off to the side, like if we went to the restroom, we could grab the radio and run to the restroom and then, not miss anything.
Yeah.
And she grabbed that radio and walked to the back and went on to the frequency that wasn't there on the dispatch, but it was in
Right.
all of the cars. It
Yep.
wasn't on our console. And she called the city officer at the time and said, "Can you please respond down here? I need actually both of the officers that were on duty. Somebody's in the lobby. The door's open. They're dressed in all black. I can see the reflection in the window, but they're on all fours on the floor, and I'm not opening that door."
Right.
So the officers rolled in hot, and we had this man who manufactured meth, and he was out of his mind. That lived in another little city to the west of us, who they were having a lot of problems with. He was wacko. He caused a lot of problems, and he still is to this day. But he had dressed in all black, camouflaged his face,
What the hell?
crawled a block and a half from where he parked. He got on all fours. This is what he told him. Crawled all the way to the police department, opened the door, and then crawled in. He had zip ties in his pocket, duct tape on his wrist like a bracelet,
Oh my God.
a scarf in his pocket, and a box cutter or something. And he was going to try to do something to whatever dispatcher stepped out there to shut that door.
Oh my God, dude. That's creepy as hell. I can't. Wow. What a nut job. And it was because he was all on meth?
And he was paranoid. He said he was going to take over the police department before they had a chance to come get him for something he had done that nobody even knew about.
It's like, dude, nobody was going to do nothing because nobody was aware.
Well, they thought it was him. They just couldn't prove it. Like some neighbor down the street from his, in the little town that they lived in, another little podunk town, that the only paved road is the highway that goes through it.
Yeah.
About 20 people. Some lady had some wagon that had been in her family for generations that her husband and her were restoring, and they would pull it out into her yard, and it made him mad because this wagon was sitting in the yard, and it made the area look trashy, even though the man never mowed his yard and his weeds were taller than his house.
Oh man.
And he had a bunch of junk in his yard. He had a problem with this couple and their wagon, their antique wagon, and he burned it down.
Oh my God.
But they couldn't prove it was him. Well, he confessed that night. He confessed on himself. He was so drugged out. He confessed that he burnt that wagon down. And he came to the police department to, take over the police department before they had a chance to come get him.
Oh my God, what a nut job. It's crazy because, I mean, clearly that, they'll, in an altered state of mind, will do literally anything. And, I always said that I never did meth. Like I did almost everything else. I tried it once, but it never made me, I didn't do a lot. So, but I never knew it make you, tweak the fuck out.
Extremely paranoid.
Yeah.
Extremely
That's why he always says when he, catches somebody who's on meth, and he's like, "Damn, they tweaking for the weekend." It's like, yeah, they are. It's like just crazy.
Yeah, I can't watch the 911 dispatching shows. It just triggers my PTSD so much. I have to avoid it. Like when Whitakus does the 911 calls, I
Yep.
have to leave.
Right. Yeah, I bet. When I suggested the channel, I was all excited. I mean, we hear some crazy call. Like we actually got to hear the call from the remember the guy, it was a big case, but the guy, his wife Susan, right? And she had the kids, and he'd only had a little bit of custody because he ended up killing her. And the DCF lady went to go bring the kids to his house for a supervised visit, and he fucking locked her out and set the house on fire with him and the kids in it. But he knocked them out first. I can't remember his name, but I remember his wife's name was Susan. But they had two little boys. And anyways, like we heard the 911 call from the DCF lady, and I mean it was so messed up too, because the dispatch lady is like telling her, "Oh, I forget how she was like, but she was rude about it in a way, kind of like, oh, well, why don't you just step back? Or, what kids are you talking about? Your children? It's like, lady, she literally just specified to you, that's fine, Blaze. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, I
But
can't take
it's
dispatchers that don't listen. That is your job. As soon as that phone rings and you pick it up, you start taking notes and you freaking listen to what's going on so you don't have to ask 12,000 questions, the same question over and over and over again. That makes me so
man,
mad.
like them kids that'll be they'd be
Ugh.
calling and saying somebody broke into my house kind of thing, and they're like oh, well, you got to give me a description. Can you see out the window? And they're like whispering, telling them I can't talk, like they're in my room, and they're snapping at them and shit. It's like, this kid
Oh
is
yeah.
petrified and scared for their life. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yep. I had this lady, she dialed 911. I answered it. And her husband was in the midst of his drug addiction and alcoholism. And they had a set of twin babies that were like 6 months old. And he wanted to kill her. She just bailed him out of jail after he'd beat the crap out of her like 2 weeks before. And she bailed him out, and he was violating the protection order.
Yep.
But it was okay, because they're husband and wife, and she loved him, and he could come home no matter what the court said. Well, honey, that's not how it works. But that night, she dialed 911 because he was on a bender, and
Yep.
she had to. They lived out on a farm in the middle of nowhere, where the neighbors were like 5 or 10 miles away, and he's running around out in the country looking for her, and she's on the phone with me, and she's hiding in one of their outbuildings, and I can hear this man screaming. He'd already fired the gun at her once and missed her as she was going out the door.
Wow.
And she's whispering, and I'm telling her to stay there, just be quiet, just let me listen. If anything changes, tell me, but just I would stay on the phone with her until the deputies got there.
Wow.
And then she starts panicking because she remembered she left her babies in that house. And I said, well, he's not in the house. He's out looking around for you. So as long as he's out looking around for you, your babies are they're okay. They were in their playpen or their cribs when it all happened. So don't worry, honey, they're okay.
Yeah.
Please be quiet. We don't want him to hear you crying.
Right.
And the deputies got there in time, and he didn't find her. The babies were okay.
Oh,
But
God.
That still bothers me too, because there were so many that I listened to these women cry, and the parents cry when they found their kid had killed themselves, and oh God.
Yeah, it's insane.
But
it's hard
I have to remember,
that there's some dispatchers who genuinely just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like,
they're rude.
Really, who are caring and calm and patient. Like, like the people who get on the phone and they just snap and they're like, oh, well, stop worrying about that. Pay attention to the questions I'm asking. Like, whoa, bitch.
No, That drives me crazy. There's a time when you have to be a little aggressive to get their
Right.
attention so that they can answer your question so you can help them.
Yep.
But peeps, I've heard some calls where the dispatcher was just downright freaking rude for no damn reason, like she was
Right.
pissed off you were interrupting her break or something.
Yep.
Those dispatchers piss
Yeah.
me off.
We seen one call where this lady or this girl, she was trying to hide, and a guy had broken into her house or whatever. Her dad was at work or something, and so she was in the bathroom in the cabinet underneath the sink and was hiding or whatever, and she was trying to explain to the 911 operator that, like, she was scared, she's like crying, and she's like trying to whisper answers to her, and the lady was getting hella pissed off, and she was like, I cannot understand you, and if I can't understand you, I can't get you help. It's like, what the hell? She ended up getting fired because she was just so messed up. The girl ended up getting
Good.
killed. And
Oh God.
yeah, so it's like, you have to remember, as a 911 operator, like, you are the difference, what could
Uh-huh.
potentially help them. You could be what, saves them, like, instead of telling them to
Yeah.
continue talking and get themselves in trouble, maybe fucking tell them, press a button once for yes and two buttons for no or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that way it's like it's only being heard in the phone, the people around her aren't hearing it. um it's just sad that there are so many operators that are like that.
And I do love that you can do 911 by text now, and they just started it
Yeah.
out here right before I retired, and I only had
Yeah.
one of those calls, and it was frustrating as hell.
Really?
Yes.
Is it like, they can't, do they give you full descriptions and stuff on there? Like, do you just text them back like a regular conversation?
You
Like,
just you text them back like you're on a keyboard, and it sends the message through text back to their phone.
yeah.
But I wanna hear the voices, and I wanna hear what's going on,
Right, because
and
I want to
that
say
really
that,
bothers me.
yeah, I feel like that is like a huge difference, like you can't hear if there's one or
Mm,
two people there. You can't hear if they're in the same room. They may be able to type that they're in the room, but you don't know what kind of voice they got, which is all shit that could potentially help the case, you
yep.
know?
And
Uh,
there was so many times I got, uh, ordered to court to testify for what I heard.
mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
when, like, on these predator catching, when they like for Alex, when the guys walk off and call for the pickles, and I
Yep.
hear some of those dispatchers and the way they talk to the guys calling in, it just
Oh, yeah.
infuriates me.
Oh, I was going to
And
say, I bet it's 10 times worse for you because I know it'd be pissing us off in chat.
I wanna type something up and print it off and send it to Alex so that they
Yep.
can just keep it there, and whoever calls 911, this is the little card. As soon as they answer it, you say, "This is who I am. This is
Yep.
where we are. This is what's going on." And, nobody's armed or he's acting crazy, and then just leave it at that and hang up, because that's all they need. They don't have to stay on the line with you unless the person's acting all friggin'
I
crazy.
was
There's no
gonna
point.
say, yeah, if they're not being erratic, then, I mean, and most of the time they do. I feel like they want to stay on the phone for, just to continue to snap at them and make them feel like they're doing the wrong.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's another thing. Don't comment on what these catchers are doing. Like, that's not your job as a
Exactly.
911 operator. You should be
Exactly.
getting the information, pass it to the cop. If the cop don't like it, if it's not okay in that area, they can tell them that. Like, that's not your
Exactly. It's not the dispatcher's job to tell those guys that they're doing something wrong, period. That it's not their business. They take the call, they give it to the officer.
Yep.
What is going on there? It's none of they don't get an opinion.
Right. Yep. Yeah, because like, remember when Musa had gotten arrested with the guy who shit his pants?
Oh
Uh
yeah, I was on that one.
God, that 911 operator, and poor Musa trying
Uh-huh.
so hard to like explain to her, and she just was like not trying to understand in any way, shape, or form, and then giving him attitude and hanging up on him even like,
Uh-huh.
what if that dude would have friggin', lost his shit, not that shit, but the other shit. What if he would have lost his shit? You know,
Uh-huh.
like God,
There's been some good calls where I've heard some good dispatchers when the guys have called in, the
right?
catchers have called in, and I've heard several that just make me cringe so bad.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But
Yeah, I
like
like.
every profession, you have your good ones and you have your bad ones.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. Constantine. Yeah, exactly. I forgot that's what his name was. Donald.
Oh, Dookie.
Donald the Dookie man. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy one. And I felt so bad. Poor Moose had to sit in the same damn car and be transported with this man. He's
Oh,
like,
absolutely. That's
he's
a
like
crazy
almost
guy.
threw up in the car on the way to the police station, and then
And then to get stuck in the same like area with him in the jail, that oh my
exactly.
god.
Yep. And then he's like, oh, he's like, they didn't just transport me with him, but when I saw his ass at court, he was in the same clothes. I was like, oh God. I
Oh.
was like, I cannot believe this shit.
Or-
I was like, I feel so bad. I kept telling Musa, I was like, yo, like, I genuinely feel for you, man. I couldn't do it,
Mhm.
props to you, because I would throw up for real.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be able to hold it in.
I
Like,
can
that shit.
handle baby poop and a little bit of cat poop,
Yeah,
but when it comes to like grown human poop, I'm gagging.
yeah, yep. I couldn't do it. And like, but yeah, babies, it's whatever. After 4 kids, and I got 5 brothers and
Uh-huh.
nephews and nieces and stuff. So it's like I'm whatever with that. But oh God, like and like I've helped like my nana, she passed away from Alzheimer's, and like as she got older, she was super embarrassed that she had to wear like the diapers and stuff, but it's like you can't even help it at this point. I mean, she was getting so bad. But she would be like she would rather, go in and try to change herself, but it's like then
Yeah.
well, you're not disposing of it properly, but so that didn't bother
Mhm.
me being, an elderly lady who couldn't take care of herself. And I've taken care of
Mhm.
elderly people, but a grown ass dude who's walking around and could straight up take care of himself yet didn't, you know.
And
It's like
wasn't he the one talking about he needed to douche before they did anything?
yeah, I think so. I think so, yeah. It's like, yep, clearly you're gonna have to now. Like, fuck, bro. I know, yeah, because me and Musa were like, what the hell? It was like, we didn't, I think that was one of the few times we actually heard a guy even say anything about douching. And I was like, I always thought that was just like a girl thing.
Well, I guess the gay men are using it now so they can make sure they're good and clean for their
Yeah.
activities.
Yep. And
But
I was
no,
like,
I've heard other preds say something about douching
yeah.
with some other people.
Yep. I've heard it a few times since then, but I think that was the first one of the first times I've heard of it. And because I was surprised and I was like, is this like a thing,
It must
but
be.
yeah, I never heard of it like, being that common, but yeah, there's been quite a few of them since then, which is
Mhm. And
insane.
hot tubs, naked men, and pooping pants. That's what Musa's known for.
Exactly. Constantine, he
It
used his
always seems
apron.
like he's got hot tubs left and right.
Yes, like how do you always get stuck with the people in hot tubs? Yeah. Oh shit. Let's see. And then he go out more than he did too, Constantine. He wore them pants for a long time. That was insane. That was so insane. I could not believe it.
Yeah, that was a crazy catch.
It was. It was. A lot of people were like, I loved that catch. Like, it was such a good one. I was like, yeah. And it had honestly
Until
had
it
Had it ended to where, Musa didn't get arrested, I feel like that would have been one of my favorites, you know.
Uh-huh. But
But
then that that catch from PvP where the guy backed his car up over that rock in that little tree.
that's one of my favorites. Yep, 150.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy with the Ugg boots tackles him.
Yeah.
I cannot believe they didn't charge him with anything.
I know. I know. Yeah, that was hilarious. The freaking football tackle in Ugg boots. Like, what the hell?
And what did PvP say? I think he got charged with DUI or something.
Yes. Like, that's all, bro,
Yeah.
because you saw him physically driving. Like, that dude
He
was
hit
the fuck
he hit
out.
the cars in the parking lot too.
Yeah. Yep. He should have been charged with hit and run, the meeting a minor, and the DUI. But like, bro, the way he was like picking at his face, like, oh my
Uh-huh.
god, how? Like, I don't know. I always wondered that too. Like, why they? It's like such a mess thing to like pick your face. Like, I see it all the time in these guys that get caught. Like the dude that Jay caught when he tried to fucking prednap Ryan.
Mhm.
He was standing there like tweaking, but he was like, trying to gently pick at his face while he's twitching around and shit, and then PvP's cat, like, oh, it's just so weird. It's like, do you think there's craters in there? Because you're about to create one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something that just like pops up as they get deeper into their addiction that they start feeling that like the bugs are crawling on them or what it is. But yeah, you see a lot of them picking at their faces and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. Hey, Gabby. Yeah, you do. It's crazy. Because I'm like, why do they pick at their, like, do they think there's stuff crawling on their skin? Like,
I don't know. I've
I'm
never
sure.
done anything harder than marijuana and an
Yeah.
edible. I
Right.
have no idea.
I mean, I've done like, the fentanyl and perks and heroin and coke and shit, but like none of them made me want to pick at my face. Like perks and stuff, I'd be like, scratching my whole body, but I never was like, like picking at my face. Like I always just wondered if they thought they had bugs on their face or something, or like
Yeah,
something was
they
coming out
say
of
they
their
get
skin.
they get a sensation that something's crawling on them, and if they feel something on their skin, they start picking at it because they think it's the bug, and then they just never stop, like an OCD thing.
Yeah. Ugh. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, I've seen some really good recovery stories, like people who used to
Uh-huh.
be on meth and how bad their like face and like, and I didn't know this was a thing until seeing some of the recovery stories, but like their chest area, like all like the lining of their neck, their chest and shoulders and stuff. And it's like, I mean, they just pick at it. And it's like, man. But then when they show them in recovery a year later, I'm like, damn, like,
Yeah.
you look so good, you know?
Oh, I'm so proud of them when you get to see that 1 year later photo versus when they, like, got arrested and how bad they looked.
Yep,
That's so amazing that even that the body could recover like that after the damage that was done.
right. Yep, it's crazy. It is crazy. I mean, and to know that they, genuinely think there's stuff on their face and then they,
Or that they
realize.
think they can pull off looking normal.
Right, yes, yeah, exactly, because they do too. They don't think like they look like what everybody else sees, you know?
Mm. Have
But
you seen that crocodile stuff, that drug called I think they call it
oh,
crocodile that they do
it's
over, like, in Russia?
yeah, it's called like crocodilly or something, or crocodilly, something dilly. But yeah, it sounds like crocodile.
I'd never even heard of that. We didn't have that out here in bumfucked Egypt. All we have is meth and heroin
Yep,
and pills, but, oh my gosh, that I seen some video, was it on A&E or something? I don't remember. It was on one of the TV stations,
yep,
that did the drug stories. And those poor people, they're like their flesh eats away from the inside, their bones are exposed, and they're sitting there doing more, and they're just
Yeah.
barely alive.
Yep. It's kind of like the cases where they do like those bath salts or whatever, which
Mm.
I don't even know how you would do bath salt. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you see what you put in the tub, like it's a fucking, what are you doing with it? You know?
I don't know. I don't know if they smoke that like they do meth or what, or they
Right.
inject it. I don't know how you do bath salts. I have no idea.
Yeah, but it's like they get so in a completely different world. Like,
Uh-huh.
they see weird shit. I mean, I've seen some people tweaking the fuck out on the streets, like thinking there's
Or
stuff there that it isn't, you know?
or those ones that attack people like they're zombies and they try chewing other people's faces and stuff off. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Yep. It's insane. Yeah, because there was a guy, he tried to attack like his parents or something, but while he was like running, he thought he was like running from a car. I mean, just weird stuff. But then when he was finally sitting down, he was like couldn't sit still, like he was, moving in every direction. I'm like,
Mhm.
what the hell is going on? Like, what are you seeing? And like their bones might hurt or something, I don't know, but that's what they look like. you
Yeah,
know
I would much rather handle somebody drunk than
Yep.
somebody.
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely take a drunk person over somebody who's on that shit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and I'm not a drinker. I was the designated driver for my own bachelorette party.
oh my god. Ah, that's fucking nuts. I couldn't do
But
it.
I've
I'd let
babysat
me
a
get
lot of
ready.
drunks.
Yep.
I
I
also booked in a lot of drunks.
yep. Yep.
I handled the female prisoners that
Did
were
you?
arrested on my shift.
Oh man. That was probably not a very fun time. I feel like some
Mm.
of them are funny because they just don't, like they're just silly about it, but like some people are those angry, annoying, like baby type drunks where you're like, you have to bring them to the bathroom so they can throw up, hold their hair up, or, get
Mhm.
them to the bedroom so they could lay down, catering to them or whatever. It's like, bro, like, do you like being like this? Like, is this really fun for you?
Yeah, I got to book in one of my old bosses one time, and she treated her employees like they were slaves,
Yep.
and she got arrested for a DUI, and that was very fun. I got to fingerprint her and stick her in the little orange jumpsuit after I full cavity searched her.
Yep. You're like, yeah, that was not fun.
Well, no, I didn't enjoy the full cavity searches, but I enjoyed the rest of it because that
Right.
woman treated me horribly and
Did
treated
she?
all of her employees horribly.
Wow. It's so crazy, like, to just treat people that are like helping you out, like, even as an employee, I mean, wouldn't you want them to have the same respect that you're expecting?
Exactly. And if those employees aren't there working for you to make that money for your company,
Yep.
you're going to have to do it. Don't treat them
Right.
like shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Very true.
But she had a lot of money and she thought she was better than everybody, and they caught her leaving the country club.
Right, exactly. That's so funny. Yeah, that's why I like those 911 calls and stuff, because it's like, I don't know. Some of them are really good, rewarding stories, so it's like worth it to hear them, you know. Um, but some of them, like we said, are just sad.
Oh
But
yeah, I've got a heartbreaking one that I didn't take the call, but since I was certified to do the evidence collection for rape victims before they'd certified a bunch of nurses out here at the hospital,
yeah,
and even after that, I still preserved evidence and stuff. This four little girls were molested by their stepfather, who was a registered sex offender, that their mom had left their daddy for after she met him on the internet, and swore that he would never do anything to her kids because they were like his own, and he would never do that.
Oh God.
And yeah, I still to this day I see this woman and I see her daughters, and they're.
Yeah.
I just every time I seen that woman, I wanted to punch her in the face.
Yeah, I would too.
I think those women or the husbands that move those people into their homes, knowing that they do that stuff, they're registered sex offenders. They've been caught for hurting somebody or a rapist or somebody.
Mhm.
If you let that person in your house thinking that they're not going to do it to your family because they love you, you're fucking insane. And
Yep.
you should be charged for being stupid and allowing that
just gonna
monster
say.
into your house.
Yep, I agree. I agree. I mean, that's why, like, this guy, DJ Just Jay on the Advocates for Children channel, he's so funny, but he's so for the kids. But he'll always say to people, if you're going to, these guys' records, and most of them, if you claim you're not looking into them or whatever, then you get into a relationship with them, but they've been arrested. You got to be curious as to why,
Mm.
but they play the whole dumb role where they're like, oh, he's okay, he's changed, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but
We
he's
lied
been,
about him.
yeah, like
It was
he's
a
been arrested
lie.
for rape and for molesting children. How the fuck, even if, hey, Smashley, even if you are, sure that he didn't do it, the fact that he was arrested for it, the fuck out of here, bro. You ain't coming to my house. you know, like, not, no, absolutely not. I mean, that
Yeah,
shit is
those 4
insane.
little girls were the same age as my stepdaughter, and, like, I coached them on my softball team for the little girls, and every time I seen him, I just wanted to hug him, and because I
Right.
knew even after it all came out and they were getting help and stuff, that their mom had let that monster into their house to do that to them.
Yeah. Yep.
It just
Yes,
it kills
Ashley,
me.
that's what he says. You date thugs, you date death, and it's like taking your kids to the thug zoo, basically.
Pretty much.
It's crazy.
I wish these people would understand if somebody's been arrested for doing something like molesting a child or raping somebody, there's a truth. Even if it's not the exact truth, there's some truth to why they were charged. There was evidence
Mhm.
enough to do it.
Yep,
Yes, some innocent people get, sent to prison for it, but there's a damn good chance that you need to protect your kids from that person.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and that's like, I just feel like you're at that point, you're ultimately enabling their behavior. Do you know what I mean? You're basically telling them,
Absolutely.
even if you're the only person who accepts what they have done as a mistake they made one time, or they have changed, you're telling them it's okay by allowing them to come
And
to your home and
you
reenact the same behavior.
and you just lined your children up for the slaughter.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what it is. They murdered those children's souls.
Yeah, yep.
When children are molested, that's what it is. They're murdering their souls. They live on, but their soul is murdered, and most of them have terrible lives after that.
Right. I mean, and that's why we say too, like, we become drug addicts, alcoholics, and destroy ourselves, because it's like you
Uh-huh.
start to doubt your entire existence, and you want to numb everything that you have just been through,
Yeah.
because I know ever since I had turned 13 and that happened, it was like I just felt like a different person completely. Like I kind of gave up on myself, like
Mhm.
internally, you know, um, and physically, ultimately, like scrubbing yourself in the shower for hours till you bleed. Like I used to use one of those loofahs and try to like scrub my skin, like my skin would bleed. I've all sorts of shit, and it's like just to know I tortured myself. I had to go through that while, these guys
Uh-huh.
walk around and act like they've done nothing.
Or they get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, yep. And then they,
They get
convince themselves too that, even if a kid is quiet and doesn't say anything during the act, it's 9 out of 10 of the times it's fear that is making them
Mhm.
say anything. But they genuinely convince themselves as a pred, they're like, oh, well, they enjoyed it, or oh, they didn't tell me no. Well, no shit, they didn't fucking tell you no, you dumb fucktard. Like, they didn't say no because they are fucking afraid. They're scared of
Yeah.
you, you
And
know?
like, and so many times we hear, the kids say, I told, but nobody
Yep.
would believe me. Those
Mm,
little girls told their mom for like a year and a half that it was happening, and she wouldn't believe them
yeah. And that's
and
the worst.
continued to let that man live in the house with them and wouldn't listen to her daughters. She's like, oh no, your dad's just saying that because he's trying to get custody. He just put it in your heads. And then she finally caught him one night.
Wow.
And then she finally believed her kids.
It sucks because it's like you are telling that kid they're not trustworthy. You know what I mean? They're going to be afraid to talk to you and tell you stuff, from that point on. Now, I say this all the time with this scenario. Even if you think, because kids tell stories, even if you think there is a fucking smidgen of a possibility that it did not happen, you still take them to get examined. You still take them to the police station. You still talk to,
Exactly.
say DCF or whoever, get it all fucking checked into, because you allow that to go. You're not validating their feelings. You're not, and if it happened and you didn't fucking take any type of actions to prove to your child, I heard you, I'm handling it, um,
Uh,
you destroy them and their worth, like you're their parent. You supposed to vouch for them and fight for them and show them that they matter, that they can
and
be
believe
trusted,
them.
you know?
There's a YouTuber that I like to watch. His name's Harvey, and
Mhm.
he just got released from prison. He shot the man that was his cousin that was molesting his brother, and his brother told him, and they went to their parents and to a cop,
Yeah.
and they're all like, "Oh no, he's not doing that. He was just playing around. He didn't point the gun at you. No, he didn't. No,
Yeah.
he doesn't touch you. Blah blah blah. No, he's not that kind of a guy." Nobody would listen to these boys, and
Right.
finally the older brother, he
Yeah.
said, "I'm not going to let this man hurt my little brother anymore." And they went, the cousin and another family member was out hunting, and the guy Harvey, who was like 17 or 16 at the time, took his dad's gun and knew where they were going and shot
Yep.
him and killed that man. And he spent like 27 or 23 years in prison because of it, because nobody would listen to him and he had to save his brother.
I was just gonna say something had to be done clearly, you know? I think those cases too, I feel like they should be the ones getting the slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, acknowledge what they did was wrong. But as a system and as a whole unit, your family, whatever, you need to acknowledge that what you have done was wrong by ignoring it.
That young man deserved a freaking medal not to be sent to prison. And then after he was sent to prison, it came out that his little brother wasn't the only cousin that cousin was molesting.
Wow.
That it happened several times with other cousins and it was just swept under the rug.
It's so messed up.
And by Harvey shooting that cousin, he saved a lot of other kids.
I was just gonna say, can you imagine the others that, possibly could have gone through it or maybe did?
And they still they convicted him and sent him to an adult prison. And he was there for over 20 years. I think it was close to 30.
Wow.
And he
That's
just got released not too long ago, and he's trying to rebuild his life. And his brother was alive long enough to who went through battles with addiction and stuff and had cleaned himself up and had gotten better. I think it was alcohol, not drugs. But
Yep.
his brother was alive when he got released and came and picked him up and moved him in with his family until he got on his feet. And then his brother, the little brother, died of cancer.
Really
Yep.
crazy. It's so sad, you know.
But I think he's called Harvey's Prison Stories or something on YouTube.
I was gonna say, yeah, text me that because I want to check that out. That's crazy.
He's not professional. He stands in the wind. There's, he goes on there and he tells his stories and he talks about the stuff that happened in prison and in his case and all of those 20 some years that happened in
Right.
prison and what he's doing now. He's a good man. He's a kind, good man, and you can see it.
Right. I feel like I
He
know what show you're talking about, or what channel.
I think it's like Harvey Talks Prison or something like that. Harvey something.
I'm gonna look real quick because I feel
Yeah,
like
I'll
I
send
know.
it to you. I'll send it to you when we get off. I can't do it because I'm on my phone.
Yeah, you're fine. We only got like 10 minutes left anyway. And
And
Harvey,
then
what prison stories?
something like that. Harvey Talks Prison or Harvey's Prison Story, something like that.
Oh,
There's another one I really like called Jay Williams.
is it? Can you see? You can see the screen, right?
Um,
Like if I hold it up to the live.
yeah. Yes, that's him.
Yeah. Okay. That is cool.
Sorry, I'm not looking at chat or anything. I
No,
try
you're
not
fine.
to.
I just wanted to make sure that I had the right one because I'm gonna check it out once we get off. Because I like those ones too. You know what I mean? Where they are real and open, and just talk
And he's
about
very
what
genuine.
happens.
And if you go watch him, start at the very first video he posted.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna
And then
say.
the family of that cousin that he shot to save his little brother
Yep.
has the nerve to come on his YouTube channel and leave nasty comments.
What the fuck?
Yeah, even after it was proven that he didn't just do it to the little brother, there was other cousins. Those people have the nerve to go on there and talk bad about Harvey.
Like, bro, you literally put this man's in this position. Like,
They swept it all under the rug. They're part of the
that's,
reason why it continued.
that's so bad.
Yeah, so ignore those comments.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like
They'll get
those
you
are the
heated.
hate comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
those will get you heated.
yep. Yep. I would too. Fuck that. You ain't coming on my channel talking shit after all the shit you did. You
And
know?
Jay Williams, Jay Williams,
I
Let's
watch
Live Life. That's another prison story
Yep, I
YouTuber that I
watched him.
really
He's a good
enjoy.
one too. I liked his. I think somebody had suggested him in Wit's channel before. I feel like maybe it was in Wit's channel.
I did it one evening in Bill's channel.
Okay, maybe that's what it was then. Okay.
The
'Cause I was
story
gonna
about the
say
plunger or the toilet bowl cleaner in the butt.
yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
that was
Yeah.
me. That was me in Bill's channel.
Yep. I'm like, we watch so much stuff in Wit's channel. I'm like, it must have came from Wit's channel. I always say that. Everybody's like, there are other channels, Jules.
Yeah, I didn't think Wit covered the jail stories though.
No, but I for some reason I really feel like we watched one in his chat before, in his stream before. Like only one time, but I feel like we did, but he don't watch them like that anymore. It's all true crime and catches and stuff, But
Yeah, I
yeah,
really, really enjoy Jay Williams. I've been watching him. I think I was like his 2000th sub or something like that.
oh nice. Oh, I gotta ban this. Oh, maybe I have to do it off of my thing here. Thank you, Constantine. I was like, I gotta get off of this other horror story thing so I can delete those. I was trying to like get in. I hate those bots. The sex bots, like, bro.
Well, honey, I don't know how long you plan on going, but I need to
Well, we're
run to the
gonna get ready to
restroom.
get off now because I gotta pee, and of course, the sperm donor is messaging about fucking Chase, and I had to literally say, like, tell him like Noah's still not feeling good. I don't want him to like come and sit and hang around. Like, and he's got a broken arm, so
Um,
the kids are gonna be bouncing around, and if they bump his arm, he's gonna flip the fuck out, and then I gotta flip the fuck out, and then my dad's gonna flip out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like, why come visit the kids while you got a busted
I mean,
arm?
it's his birthday, isn't it? I mean, I can
Yeah,
understand why he wants to come say hello, but don't stick around long because it's not
yeah,
going to end well.
yeah. And I mean, he don't listen. I mean, he'll stay for 2 hours after I'm like, it's time to go. He was supposed to have 1 hour, 1 day a week supervised visit with them, and I am nice enough on Sundays. I let him stay for like 2 hours. I'm not an asshole, you know what I mean? But
Uh-huh.
he has bailed on the last two visits. Halloween, he skipped out on because his car broke down going all the way to Maine to get weed. Um, and then last Sunday, he was like, "Oh, because Noah wasn't feeling good," and I was like, We're not going outside for long. We're gonna be outside for like an hour. That's it. If you want to come see them, you can." So he was like, "Well, I don't give a shit how you feel, blah blah blah." He was like, "I just need to see my kids. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to them." So I was like, "Dude, I said you could come. I will let you know when we go out." So we go outside now after all this arguing and yelling at me and fucking treat me like shit. We get outside, and doesn't this motherfucker straight up say to me, "Oh, well, I'm still waiting to do laundry."
Seriously.
And are you telling me you're texting me in the fucking nude, bro? Come here in dirty clothes. I'm telling you, like, if your kids matter that much and you want to come see them that bad, you'll fucking wear dirty clothes to come see them if that's what you got to do. Like they should come first, like you could do
Oh,
your laundry any other day of the week that you're not seeing them. You have,
priority. Come
you
on. It's his
know,
doing.
he's father of the year out of convenience, you know what I mean? When he comes, he takes pictures with them just to post on Facebook and stuff, and he don't message to check on them or nothing, and then he gets pissy at me because I'm not texting him to tell him what's going on in their life. I'm like, I'm fucking a single mom and I'm the one taking care of the kids. You can't take 2 seconds out of your fucking day, maybe twice a week and say, "Hey, how are the kids? What's going on?"
Uh,
Or check on them when they're sick. Like, I'm not catering to you, bro. I'm not doing it. Sorry.
exactly. You're
My
not
son
his bookkeeper.
literally, Noah's at the point where he's like, if I have to go outside and see him, he better not look at me or talk to me or even try to hug me. It's like, I'm like, that's
And they're
sad.
old enough to they're old enough to understand that their dad's not putting in the fucking effort.
Yep, absolutely. And I was making excuses for him for a while, and their therapists were like, don't, because they
Yeah.
need to see him for what he is. Don't talk trash about him around them, but let them know,
Uh-huh.
like, this is what it's like, because they're going to form their own opinion on him. And they're like, I'm going to tell you, they're not going to like who he is, you
Yeah,
know?
they need to see the truth and they need to know the real him without bashing. They just need to
Right.
see the
Yep. So now I don't stick up for him and make up a story, as to why he's not coming or whatever. I just tell them flat out, "Oh, because laundry apparently isn't done." It's just ridiculous. Sad as hell. But yeah, so I'm like, nope, I'll call you, so you could say happy birthday, because I'm not a douche, but um you'll have to
yeah,
wait to come
video
over.
chat it.
Yep,
Video
exactly.
chat
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it. I
But
feel
all
it
right.
sounds like you're being very gracious to him.
I am. I am. Have been trying, and I have so many text messages. Like, I sent them to my therapist, and she's like, it just sounds like he is trying to be abusive again, verbally abusive and emotionally abusive. And so she was like, I mean, I would be willing to bet that, when he gets around the kids, when he's whispering stuff, it's negative stuff to them. And I'm like, well, he's negative to them out loud, you know? Like, he'll take things from them that they're trying to build and be like, give it to me. I'll just do it. You're not doing it right. You don't know what you're doing. They're fucking kids, bro. They're learning.
Oh,
And they're not going to learn if you tell them they're not good at it.
no,
Sorry.
you're supposed to have the patience as a parent to sit there and help guide them so they can do it
Right.
themselves so they can feel good about it.
Yep. Smashley, he used to be abusive to me, mostly verbally and emotionally abusive to the kids. But when he did put his hands on Chase, he pushed him in the snow, and he pushed him with enough force that he slid across the snow a good couple of feet. And that's when I called DCF. I reported him myself because I'm sorry. I don't care how people feel about it, but you're not putting your fucking hands on my kids. And I don't give a shit if you fucking donated your sperm to help me create them. You know, you are not going to put your hands on my motherfucking kids. Sorry, not
Did the
happening.
exact same thing.
So
You-
I reported him, and then because Chase told the story to my therapist, you know, and he was like so upset by it. Like, we went to my friend's house and she had ordered pizza. He didn't even know the pizza guy. And he's like, did you know my dad pushed me and I went across the snow? So it's like, it was bothering him, you know? So I was like, I'm done. I fucking took the kids. I left. And I mean, he was so in his anger. Like, they told my daughter, Haley, they're like, quick, sissy Haley, dad's mad. Let's get in the closet. This is where we hide when we're trying to hide from dad. So they
Oh,
told her they'd be safe in the closet and shit. That fucking killed me. And then we literally walked from upstairs in his room, bringing many bags, downstairs through the living room where he was sitting and out the kitchen door, like 3 times. And he didn't even say shit. He didn't say shit. He waited till 3 hours later and called me on my phone and said, where the fuck are you? I said, at my mother's. And he's like, I didn't even know you left.
what?
Oh, you didn't? Because literally, me and Hales and the fucking boys walked by you like 3 times with our shit. I took pillows, I took blankets, we took bags and bags of shit. How do you not notice? And 3
Yeah,
hours
that's
later, you're wondering
crazy.
where the fuck we are, bro? Like, no. I'll be at my mom's until I get an apartment, and, you know. So he was hella pissed, you know, but it's like, I'm sorry, you're not doing this shit. Like, this whole day was shit. You know, you started by putting your hands on my fucking kid, and then you're fucking throwing shit around the house to the point that my kids are petrified. They're telling their sister to hide in the closet, bro. You can eat shit. How about that? You'll be lucky
Wow.
if you see them after this, you know. So that's why DCF was involved, and they, you know, I said I was pissed because I'm like, I had to suffer the consequences, basically. Like, I was the only one who had to see them several times, you know, like they had to come here, sit and do meetings and, you know, whatever. But it's like, I understood why, you know, it was for the kids' safety because of Chris. But uh, they tried to reach out to him twice, and he said he never got the call or nothing. He never called back or nothing. And so they said, you know what? Like, he's not making an effort. Like, we wanted him to do counseling and stuff in order to, you know, have more time with the kids, but he doesn't want to, you know, participate. Then he can see the kids for 1 day a week for 1 hour, and it needs to be supervised. And then they tried to help me to go get full custody, but I was so afraid of how he was going to act and, you know, what would happen. I didn't want the boys to be around to deal with that. So I hadn't gone to court yet, but she just told me the other day, because my case got closed out last year because everything's been fine. We've stayed away from him. So she told me that when I was ready and not so afraid to go to court for custody, to email her, and she will go to court and stand by me. I have this head supervisor of the Worcester DCF office who has my back, and my therapist, and the boys' therapists, and the boys' doctor. So they're all like, just go get custody, like, you know, keep him away. So, but she gave me the number for some lady who helps with domestic violence stuff, will help me to get a lawyer and stuff to show like his text messages and all the stuff that we have, like from when he set Noah's crib on fire, like everything. So
Is this the same one that damaged your teeth?
no, nope.
Okay.
No.
Different
Thank.
guy.
Yeah. This one, he just liked to shit on me for it. You know.
Oh,
But I'm like, mentally, you're doing the same shit, and then, grabbing my arms, pushing me, and, smacking me is, to me, that's still the same shit. Like you're doing the
not
same
any
shit
better.
the other guy did, except the emotional abuse you give me is more long lasting than what he did to me, you know?
Uh-huh.
So nuts.
Gosh, Jules, I'm so sorry that happened to you and your boys. I'm glad you're out of it now.
Yes, 3 years now, thank God. I left in 2019. I got smart. you know?
I I I had a little bit of abuse growing up, like, you know, it was the 80s, parents
Yep.
lose their temper and stuff, but not to the extent that my husband had. His stepfather was a horribly abusive alcoholic, and his mother's still with him to this day. But if you ever see a picture of my handsome husband, like really
Yep.
up close, his nose looks like a J.
Yep.
And it's because his stepfather, kicked him in the face in their driveway and sent him sailing down the driveway about 12 feet.
Oh my God.
And his nose is crooked. It looks like a J. They didn't take him to the hospital to have it reset.
That's so fucked up. So they just let
Uh,
him sit there with a fucking broken nose, bro.
yeah. And he's a redneck inbred fucking hillbilly piece of garbage
Yep.
who always wears the square-toed cowboy boots, and that's what he kicked him in the face with.
Oh God.
And he abused those kids and abused those kids, and oh my God,
Sick.
and she's still with him.
Really?
He chose that man over her own kids,
What the fuck?
and
I'm
she's back
sorry,
crazy.
but no man is worth more than my children.
Not
Men are a
not
dime
that
a dozen, but
not that
no.
she didn't abuse the kids because she did. Like she
Right.
made kneel on floor heater grates, those big old ones, those old
Yes.
fashioned. She would make them kneel on those things and say the rosary for their punishments
What the fuck?
after she, beat their asses.
Wow. People are
But
so disgusting.
uh,
Can't stand people.
my sweet, amazing husband.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, that's insane that he had to go through that, but thankfully he's, made it through it. you know.
Her husband never abused her, like physically. He's verbally abusive, but he never laid a hand on her. He saved
Oh
that
yeah,
for,
because I was gonna say he had the kids for a punching bag. What do you need to do it to her for?
and he did quite frequently. And she and made excuses. Oh, they were playing and wrestling and fell down the stairs. That's how he broke his arm. No, it was stepdaddy.
Right.
She was there. She seen it.
That is fucked up.
Yeah, unless there was bones exposed or something that she couldn't handle herself medically, those kids didn't go to the doctor.
Right.
And
That's
then if they did go to the doctor, she would lie and cover up for him.
yeah. Wow. Just insane. Oh, I can't stand people. Well,
Well,
thank you for
did
coming up
we,
and chatting with me.
absolutely. Did we distract you for a little bit?
Yes, you did, thankfully. After I get the kids off the bus and situated, I'll do their Chase's little, his birthday calls and stuff with everybody and give him his gift and then have to get back to my decoying, but at least I'll have time and stuff to keep my mind occupied and stuff.
Well, tell Chase happy birthday from the crazy YouTube community.
I will for sure. He'll be excited. He'll be excited. I know I had a couple of people send text messages and stuff saying happy birthday. So I was like, oh, so nice. So he'll be
I hope
excited.
you feel better soon. You guys sure have been wrecked with the sickness this
I
last
know.
couple.
It's been insane for sure. Having RSV and COVID and dealing with that shit at the same time has not been fun
I
at all.
can't imagine. And they're so little, and you feel
Yeah.
so bad. You can't heal it.
Yep.
You can't
Exactly.
take it.
Yep.
I got to
It's
tell you, I never wanted children,
mhm.
and I believed I would have any growing up. I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
My kids are the greatest gift God has ever given me besides my husband, my
Abs-
parents.
Yep. They really are though. I feel like, in some ways too, they save you,
Oh, absolutely.
So thank you, Justine and Smashley and Lisa. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll up a little, guys. Blaze,
I'm
Rod,
I haven't been looking at chat. I try not to. It makes me
right?
nervous.
I know. I say the same thing too when I'm on somebody's panel. Thank you, Matt, for coming, and Bryden, and Constantine, and everybody else, because I don't remember all who was in here. But I appreciate you guys, all of you. Oh, and Blaze for coming up here with Tatiana. I appreciate you guys all so much. And hopefully, I will be here next week to chat with y'all again.
All right. Have
Thank
a
you,
blessed day.
Tatiana. I love you, honey.
I love you too.
Bye, you guys.
Bye bye.